Yeah, it's the morning of 26th of October, and beautiful, beautiful program for Srila Prabhupada yesterday. Incredible program. And for most people, it's difficult to see, but the Yamuna River came up again. I would say 3 feet, maybe 4. Sounds like a little bit, but it's a lot. Anybody who knows India knows it. Those personalities in Himachal Pradesh must be suffering a lot. Of course, it's turning to snow. That gives a little bit of relief, or ice. But there is a lot of rain. There is not just a little bit. There's a lot of rain. I mean, a lot of rain, you know. So just take a moment and offer a prayer and hope that everything goes good for them. But that's a lot of rain. I'm saying that because usually the Yamuna is very low at this time of the year. Very low. And I just wanted another point, just skip to another point. Very difficult to understand some personality who is in a different world, in the spiritual world, all the time. And he's trying to communicate with us in this material world. Now, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur puts it like that. They're in the spiritual world, and they're trying to connect with you in the material world in a body, transmitting through a body. But even though they're transmitting through a body, let's see, Rup Sanatan Gaudiya Mat, Haribol. Yeah, even though they're doing that, that energy that's coming from them is not the same energy that you would get from somebody else. I'm talking, even if I was talking right straight to your face and everything, the energy that's coming from my voice is not the same energy that's coming from their voice. And it can't be captured on anything, because everything's digital. All the life is out of it. Not just this material life, but all life is out of it. So, here they're trying to communicate to us in a way that it seems like natural. It isn't going to disturb us, and they bring it on pretty okay. So some of the points that Srila Prabhupada, they're even hard for people who are very close to Prabhupada to understand. Understand why has he done something. Okay, Srila Prabhupada never forgot something that he wanted to bring up. And something as important as naming a guru, an acharya for the movement, that was in his mind. And he made that clear in May 28th of 1977. That's about 6 months before he left this planet. So he made it very clear that I'm going to do a process. And the process is I am going to name certain persons, and they are going to be what he called Ridvik, but not in the Karmakanda attitude, but Ridvik in a Vaishnava way. They're going to be Ridvik. Ridvik means empowered. That's what it means. So I'm going to empower. I'm going to empower. Not that they're like going to have power for the rest of the eternity, but like he had the power. But I'm going to empower them. They can give Gayatri Mantra. They can give initiation. They can give They said like that. He said like that. I'm going to empower them. As long as they're following, as long as they're following, I'm going to empower them. Very deep. He's speaking for Krishna. He is speaking for Krishna. And this part of the, Kali Yuga, I feel it necessary to empower those personalities to give what is now called Diksha, the Brahma Gayatri. Think of it. He knows that they're not qualified, and he's just going to empower them so they can give it. And then he had another statement when I was going to get my Gayatri mantra, and the tape recording of Prabhupada said, I'm giving you this Gayatri mantra, you're listening to it, you're taking it in and everything, but when you have the opportunity, in other words, if you don't get the opportunity, don't worry about it. When you have the opportunity, you must hear this from a qualified person. There it was. There it was. There was that was the hook. That was the hint. There may not be a qualified person that you'll ever see in your life, and I want you to have this Gayatri mantra. The Gayatri mantra is very potent. Especially Klim Krishnaya Govindaya Gopijana Valavaya Swaha. That is given to Brahma as our guru. He's our Adi Guru in this line, on this, in this universe. So he's Adi Guru. Klim Krishnaya Govindaya Gopijana Valavaya Swaha. I want to give that to you. And I'm doing it by my empowered representatives. And he did not qualify. He didn't say, oh, he has to be sannyasi. He didn't say he has to be a man. He didn't say any of these qualifications. He just says, I'm empowering you. And it doesn't mean it's just left to, because someone did ask him, can more be on the list? And he said yes. Now, he didn't give the qualification, but it's just normal, 4 regulated principles and 16 rounds at least, if not more. Yeah. So he didn't qualify it in any other way, but he says, I'm giving you these. And then he said, and later I'm going to try to name an acharya. Well, he didn't forget. But he was waiting for that message of Krishna to tell him who it was. Who should he give that acharya part to? So we're all looking for that acharya, but he also was. He wouldn't have forgotten. He wouldn't have been so foolish. I'm saying something that's so important, and now I forgot it? No, he wasn't. He didn't forget it. Krishna never told him. So even to Srila Prabhupada, that must have been a really big surprise. I'm praying for a person to take over my movement, and I'm not getting any response from you, Krishna. So, from my point of view, anybody who's really following Srila Prabhupada, or even definitely wants to follow Srila Prabhupada, they're qualified. It's going to be difficult. This this way of communication that you're linked with right now is not going to last, because the persons that want to control, they see that this with one of these things in your hand, you have so much knowledge of everything that's happening, so they can't control you. So definitely they're going to take this away. There's no doubt about it. And they're definitely going to control the people more and more. So because of that, if somebody wants to make these observations, they can see that Prabhupada is preparing us that don't restrict Brahma Gayatri in such a way that a person won't be able to advance. Don't restrict it in such a way. You know, don't be so lenient just throwing it like cheap stuff, but don't restrict it. Don't restrict it to gender. Don't restrict it to age. Don't restrict it to so many things. We have to get this Brahma Gayatri out. And Garga Muni, this is another example. Garga Muni and the Jiva Goswami wrote the Gopal Champu. Gopal Champu, he wrote that book. And Garga Muni, he's sitting in Mathura. And he knows Krishna appeared in Mathura. He knows. He's the Kula Guru of Vasudeva. So Vasudeva and Devaki certainly told him and everything, so he already knows, oh, Krishna appeared at this time in Mathura. Okay, that's good. And then Vasudeva asked him to please go and give name to Krishna. And so the name is going to be given according to the time and place and this and that and the stars. So, okay. But Garga Muni, he's actually in contact. He gets messages from above also. You know, in special cases, he'll get messages from above. So he walks in, and he's got it all down. And then all of a sudden he becomes perplexed, really perplexed. And he's just looking at the features of Krishna. And he's going, hey, wait a minute, this isn't the same Krishna. This who I'm looking at is not the same Krishna that appeared in Mathura. And at that point, Gopal Champu, he takes a moment of just really praying from above. And then he says, oh, I see. The appearance of Krishna in Mathura was under a star of a Kshatriya. But this personality I'm looking at appeared once again. But he appeared this time under the Rohini star, which is for the cowherd men. So that may, seem like, oh, it's just a simple thing. That is incredible. That shows that he was in connection with higher entities. And they were responding to him. This is the name you should give to him here in Vrindavan. Maybe he can have another name in Mathura, but not here in Vrindavan. So that is, see, it's not, in other words, it's happened. And Prabhupada was like that. He wanted to have an acharya. He wanted everything to be like on paper. Prabhupada was very good at that. He really wanted it to be written down and appointed. But it didn't happen. So even to his surprise, it didn't happen. So we should try to delve. I don't know how everybody will figure it out and everything, how it's the right way to approach it. But I say, man or woman, many years in, serving Krishna, or just a few days serving Krishna, anyone who sincerely wants to help others, they have been given the potency, That's where the whole thing is. They have been, you could say Ridvik. I use the word empowered because Prabhupada, when he was here, he temporarily empowered so many people. Oh, please give this name to him. He's on the other side of the world. Oh, please give Gayatri to him or her. You know, it was always like that. So he temporarily empowered, even back in the, I know back in 72, because that's how I got my name. Gayatri I got right from his lotus mouth. But my name, I was given it by Rupanuga Maharaj. Yeah. Prabhupada asked, how is this person? And he said, oh, Prabhupada, he likes to read Srimad Bhagavatam. Says, okay, I will give him the name Shonaka Rishi. So then he sent him, and I got my name through him. So he was Ridvik already. And that's back in the 70s and early 70s, you know? And others can tell you in the late 60s he was already doing that. So he already had done it for quite a while. More than 10 years he had done it. So it's not unusual. And it's actually, like, I see it as a very high glorification of Prabhupada. And I'm sorry if it molests the Jati Brahmanas are already molested by us. But just imagine if this becomes like a norm. A norm. Here, I can give you your Gayatri mantra, and if you're chanting and this, that, and the other, in time you give. But you always have to give the but. That's how Prabhupada put it on the tape. He says you have to find a qualified person. So that does not take the weight away from the person that's getting the Gayatri mantra. They still have the weight that they have to find a qualified person. So even if that's significant. Even if I'm not qualified, I am telling you that you have to go find a qualified person and listen from them and serve them. There is the strength in Ridvik. That is the strength in Ridvik. I can repeat those words. I can go out and give. Yeah, I can go out and give. There's four walls that are trying to limit the ability of doing things. It looks like Srila Prabhupada broke those four walls. Yeah, those four walls are now broken. And the ability for anyone who has a heart for other people to give the Gayatri mantra, give it. Give it. And that just brings in a whole thing that it just has to be done in that way. It's going to get even rougher. It's rough, but it's even going to get rougher, and we don't want people to miss out on this opportunity. So I would say that this is, for me, it's nothing. I already know that it's what was coming. But other people may debate it. Oh, should a woman do it or a man do it or no, anybody. Yeah. Remember, Srila Prabhupada even put ladies to doing, oh my God. Shalabhati in Vrindavan, New Vrindavan, she was the head pujari doing in 1972, she was the head pujari doing the artik in New Vrindavan. And I was surprised, and someone said, no, she's a very qualified person. Prabhupada loves her so much, and so she is doing the artik in 1972. And so many personalities like that. So that it's not women's liberation or anything like that. It's just a fact. You got the spiritual qualities. Your material body can't restrict it, and that's it. In Kali Yuga, it's got to be like that. The laws change, but then you go to Bhakti Rakshaka Sridhar Maharaj, and Bhakti Rakshaka Sridhar Maharaj, he says in this Kali Yuga, in this time of Mahaprabhu's moment, Vareyam in the Gayatri, even in the Brahma Gayatri mantra, the Om Bhur Bhuva Swa, even in that Gayatri mantra, Radha is there as Vareyam. Vareyam means the Ishtadev of the mantra. Who I'm praying for is not to Krishna. I'm praying to Radha. But is that the fact? No, the fact is Radha is praying to everyone, please bring your devotional service to me and I will offer it to Krishna. So you don't worry about if your devotional service is very small or contaminated or anything like that. Do it as best you can and just hand it to Radha and she will hand it to Krishna. So that was Bhakti Rakshaka Sridhar Dev, and he came up with that conclusion. He said he wasn't able to find the actual verse and everything, but in the Sandarbhas, Jiva Goswami said that. So already our 6 Goswamis have known that. Yeah. So let's try to get a feeling for everything that Srila Prabhupada has given, even things that he didn't know he was going to give, and try to implement them in the right way, but don't be restricted. There's no restriction on that. Yeah, okay. Even if one just gives himself the Gayatri mantra and the Hare Krishna mantra, and I would say even to that extent, I give myself. I was in Cuba, and we were in Cuba in 1996, me and Vitaleshwaram. And we met a young boy who had gotten a book from somebody, and he had been preaching. I gave out so many japa beads. I said that these people will probably never get japa beads. They'll never come to a ceremony. So I sat down on Gita Jayanti. I sat down, and I told them this is not an official initiation, but anybody who comes up, I'm going to give them a japa, and I'm going to give you self-realization book. I want you to study this and come to the point where you can follow nicely. So they did. And we had it arranged because you can't have big groups in Cuba at that time. So some people came at such and such a time, some people came at such and such a time. So we had it nicely arranged. So the day that we were leaving for the airport, we went to this person's house. And this person, just from a book, he was already worshiping Radha and Krishna. Somehow I got a picture of Radha and Krishna, and he had it on his wall. And then he took us to his little temple he had built. Poor person. And it was just cinder block. And you couldn't stand up all the way, and you could touch the walls with your hands. But there it was, the little altar, the photo of I call Sri Sri Radha Madhava. Others call him Radha Dwarkadish. Yeah, okay, whatever. When they first were installed by Prabhupada, they were Radha Madhava. And I was there in 1972 when Prabhupada told Jaya Tirtha, the person in charge of as they call it, New Dwarka. And he says, can we change the name of the deities to Krishna Dwarkadish or Radha, whatever they call them? And Prabhupada says that Chandravali will never be at the level of Radharani. That was his answer. So I didn't think they were going to change him, but they, Karanda, Karanda was wonderful, but he did some things. So he did change the names of the deities. Rukmini Dwarkadish, there it is. Oh my God, I don't even want to hear it. Rukmini Dwarkadish. Rukmini was always fighting with Satyabhama, who was Radharani. Okay, so, whew. Oh my God, Prabhupada. So, take this, even if you're initiated, even if you're not initiated, just take this and try to implement on it. And, let's not restrict the power of Prabhupada. That's actually what it is. You're restricting the power of Prabhupada. Even power that Prabhupada didn't know he was going to have. Just like Gargamuni didn't know he was going to have that power to give Krishna his name. He didn't know who he was. So let's not restrict the flow of the movement. Let Radha have her ways. Everybody, just let Radharani have her ways. Okay, Haribol. And if you're listening to this, grab something and go on the internet and see what the Gayatri mantra is, how it's made and everything, and just start chanting it. Yeah. I'm not trying to water it down or make it weaker, because the statement is there. Always look for a qualified person where you can hear it from them, not from a tape, but hear it from them. But just with that desire, that's enough. Sit down and do your Gayatri. Sit down and do your japa as an initiated person. You're already suffering so much here in the Kali Yuga, you're already qualified. Okay, thank you very much.